Hi, I'm Sarah Forster and welcome to this week's episode of A Closer Look. This week, myself and a few colleagues came down to the Abrahamic Family House. It's home to a church, a mosque and a synagogue. To find out more about these fascinating buildings, we're going to speak to our reporter, Saeed Saeed. So I'm back in the office now with our reporter, Saeed Saeed, who was down there with me at the Abrahamic Family House. Thank you for coming in, Saeed.
Pleasure to be here.
So we're going to start with, I think, the main question, which some of our viewers might not know the answer to, which is, what are these three buildings doing so close together, so unified in their design, you know, all part of the one Abrahamic family house? Kind of, can you tell us why these buildings even exist?
Well, I think the key word there that you mentioned was family. This is a building really that, that celebrates the shared values that the three Abrahamic faiths have. And by the three Abrahamic faiths, we're talking about Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. So this is a building that shares, that looks at and explores and celebrates the common things that that these three influential faiths have in the world today. And if you really look at this story, it might begin like this just happened just last week, but the story of the Abrahamic Family House really goes back to 2019. It was the year that was dubbed the Year of Tolerance by the UAE authorities, and within that time, what did we see? We've seen the historical visit of Pope Francis, to the UAE. We've seen a number of interfaith initiatives taking place. We've seen leaders of the Jewish faith coming to the UAE, the announcement of the synagogue. So all of this really is a story that began 3 years ago, and this is essentially the magnificent final product of these amazing and really historical discussions.
Yeah, it's definitely been in the works for a while. These buildings didn't just pop out of nowhere. But we were both there yesterday, and I'll tell you what I think my favorite bit was, but I just wanted to know what struck you the most being there, because it's a very special place to be. It's not like, anywhere else I've been here in the UAE. There's a real serenity to it, but like what aspect did you enjoy the most?
What I was really struck by, I thought the first challenge was, how do you blend, these values aesthetically, culturally, in various ways within one building. And this is really, I feel, where the British Ghanaian architect, Sir David Ajayi, has done a brilliant job. What really struck me was how austere, was how minimal it is. This is a place for reflection. There's not a lot of so-called bells and whistles there. From the welcome center, which is like a really elegant, minimal space, which also doubles up as an event center, to hold conferences, discussions, and exhibitions, to the garden, which has over 200 plants locally sourced. And it's a lot of space, it's a lot of silence, and I think it really sets the right tone to go on this journey of reverence. And the way that it's all linked together is meant for you not to just go to the mosque, to the church, to the synagogue. It's meant for you to easily, navigate between different faiths and perhaps learn, glean some interesting insights along the way.
It is definitely an educational resource, isn't it? Because like you say, you don't just go to one, it's for people to go. Visitors are welcome from the 1st of March, which is Wednesday, and visitors can go to each building and learn about it. It's free to go unless you want a tour, which is paid. And I would almost recommend the tour, because when we went, my favorite part was the detail, the attention to detail as you go around. It's not just that, the mosque, it does face Mecca and the synagogue faces Jerusalem. It's the reason why there are a certain amount of pillars, or it's the reason why this pillar is slightly higher than this pillar. It's those little details that I found really fascinating. So much thought went into the designs. And one thing that I found really fascinating was to see, so the church is predominantly a Catholic church, right? But obviously anyone of any denomination can go. But I don't know if you've been to a Catholic church before, but they are ornate. Like, that's the whole deal of the Catholic churches, is there's like lots of paintings and carvings and everything. So to see a Catholic church this minimalistic was really quite striking.
that's the same way that I felt also about the mosque. It is also very minimal in design. A key feature of mosques that I've seen really everywhere around the world is that it's defined by this, very ornate chandeliers, which serve a practical purpose, which is to light the prayer hall. But in the Abrahamic Family House, there is no chandelier. Instead, what you have is really subtle but powerful spotlights up on the roof. And the roof also is quite curved, and that also allows the sound to reverberate much easier in the prayer hall. If you remember when we were going on that tour, our tour guide in the mosque spoke in such a slow voice, and the sound carried. And again, it is these things like this, just these removals, of unnecessary, things. Even the way that the books are placed, just elegantly within the walls. It takes away any disturbances, any distractions, and that really will, I felt already this is a perfect place for contemplation and reflection.
I mean, even he specifically mentioned even the air conditioners are hidden. Like, you won't see the AC units, and because it's as you say, it's just yet another distraction, right?
Yeah, and even even within the carpets, right? The lines that allows the people to stand in prayer together are engraved within the carpet in a very subtle way. So even the carpet, it looks quite uniform. There's no streaks, that we see a lot in other mosques as well. It's really elegant.
So I think we can agree that where the Abrahamic Family House really stands out is detail, attention to detail, and that's why you won't just pop down there for 5 minutes, you'll be there for a while, really kind of noticing all the special little parts. I know you've written on our website, thenationalnews.com, you've written basically a visitor's guide, what it's like to go down there, what people need to know. Can you give us a little bit of a synopsis here now? If someone watching this wants to go and visit, what's the deal? What do they need to know?
So the Abrahamic Family House is open to all worshippers now. So you can go there right now, and practice your faith and experience this wonderful facility. In terms of going there on tours or just a general visit, that's going to begin from March the 1st, which is next week. And always check out the Abrahamic Family House's website. All new programs, all new initiatives will be uploaded on that, as well as the social media channels.
Great. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Saeed.
An absolute pleasure.
Great. Thank you. So that's it for this week's episode of A Closer Look on the Abrahamic Family House, brought to you from right here in the newsroom. Remember, if you want to catch our previous episodes, you can find them all on the YouTube channel. And if you have any suggestions for future episodes, you can drop them in the comment box below.